Hey everybody, James Williams here of the Southern California News Group, and I have a special guest with me today. Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, is here with me today. Swerve, how you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent, man. A busy day, but it's what I love to do, and it's what I signed up for, man.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's what comes with being the champion nowadays, right?
Yes, sir.
And speaking of being the AEW champion, you're the first African American AEW champion. What does that mean to you?
That means everything. It means culture. It means influence. It means inspiration. It means
Hmm.
impact, and it also sets a new standard in like not only just all elite wrestling, but like in the wrestling industry itself. I have a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. I take that very seriously. I hold my position like very highly, and I'm try to be the utmost professional that I can be. And like I said, that it's not just the in ring; it's just outside of the ring things too, like coming to this high schools and speaking to kids and doing all these little like activations and just promoting the product of All Elite Wrestling. It's a passion of mine, and I'm happy to be like positioned in this spot. And I worked hard for it, I grinded for it, I fought for it, I bled for it. I'm in this position for a reason, and I'm going out there every week to try further prove that why I'm the guy for this job.
No doubt about it. And you said you're getting ready to speak to a high school. What was Swerve Strickland like in high school? Did he ever think he'd be speaking to a high school? What were his goals? What were his dreams at that age?
I've always like that was something I always dreamed of wanting to do. Like when we had guest speakers come into my high school and stuff, and I would
Hmm.
sit in the auditoriums and watch. I was always wondering, like, man, I want to be important enough to do the same thing. Like I want to have like some type of I didn't know what exactly, but I wanted to have
Hmm.
some type of importance or meaning to my life and my career to come back and speak to kids or speak to like an audience and kind of like inspire and give knowledge to for them to want to pursue something. And I just didn't know what it was going to be. Little did I know it would be pro wrestling.
Right.
I was at that time I was hoping to be like probably for dancing or like or
Okay.
for sports or pro wrestling or something or
Hmm.
football or something like that.
Hmm.
But I never would have expected it to be pro wrestling. I never would have expected to be the world heavyweight champion or like the first of anything in that
Right.
matter.
Of course, of course. No, hey, life comes at you fast sometimes. But speaking of being the first African American champion, what has the feedback been like? Maybe one just from the wrestling community as a whole, but also just from your peers.
From my peers, I have probably the greatest locker room I've ever could ask for. Like all the way
Mhm.
from like Adam Copeland to an
Okay.
Orange Cassidy to a Will Ospreay to like just like it's just it expands so greatly of people that just were supportive and people that understood and wanted to help push me to the position. You know what I mean? It was like a lot of the veterans, like even at Chris Jericho, just like
Hmm.
speaking speaking for like on my championship celebration party afterwards, him speaking on like hearing words of encouragement from a man like that, saying like, man, like I wish you would have had the opportunity months ago for this
Right.
championship. Or, like the fact that I'm like I got to it. He was like that warms my heart, and it knows that I'm in the right place doing what I have to do, and I'm doing the right things for it. To hear those words from other people, the community um, is, is majority positive.
Hmm.
There's negative in the sense of like it's early and it's new and it's fresh, and I'm the first. And when you're the
Right.
first of anything, it's going to be hit with a lot of criticism, and the whatever standards that are set so high, they're always going to keep getting higher the higher you rise. It's never going to be high enough for people's personal standards. And that's the people that I'm not even going to concern myself with or the
Hmm.
accounts or the talks or whatever. I can only do exactly what I can do for the people that always have supported me and wanted to see me in this position. The fans that literally get up, buy a ticket, go to shows, go to meet and greets with me, that literally come out and speak to me face to face at conventions and literally talk about how much I touched their lives and how much I inspired them to get back into watching pro wrestling, or I'm one of the main reasons they watch All Elite Wrestling. Those are the people I do it for, and that's the kind of like that's the responses I want. Those are the responses that matter to me. Accounts are going to talk and they're going to say what they say until the next person. Then they say what they say until the next one, and they're already looking towards the next one or whatever, or further down the road. I'm worried about the now and my product and building All Elite Wrestling today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day for the future. But that's my focus on I would say criticisms or just um fan response, I would say.
Right on. And just jumping, I want to jump in the ring here with you a little bit, and take you back to your match with Samoa Joe, when you won the World Heavyweight title there. You were standing on the turnbuckle there for it seemed like a significant amount of time, before you land on Samoa Joe and you go for the pin. What was going through your mind at that moment? Are you looking at the crowd? Is your career flashing before your head? What's kind of going on in that moment?
That's that's exactly kind of what it was. It felt like 15 years of my pro wrestling career just
Yeah.
went whoosh in front of my eyes, and it
Hmm.
was like, wow, it's culminating at this moment. For one, this has to be the greatest swerve stomp I've ever done in my career and I've ever delivered. It has to be the biggest, most
Right.
impactful, confident one. This is the dagger to take
Hmm.
out Dracula type feeling.
Yes.
For one. And like I said, the it felt like the people stayed to see that moment. Like uh, like I said, we demand a lot from the fans from the fact that they get stays 4 hours, see
Right.
amazing action, witness one of the greatest matches of all time, possibly with Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay, not
Hmm.
2 matches ago,
Yeah.
and opening with Okada and Pac, and then like you know Tony Storm killing it with Thunder Rosa, and
Mhm.
just a ladder match right before us. We're giving them a lot for them to stay to the very end, like glued to their seats to witness history in a moment. I will never be able to thank the fans like enough for that, and that's kind of what that emotion was. Like everybody rose with me on that last stop. People were starting to stand because they were like, "This is it. We're ready for it," and they like I gave them what they want, and I received what I was looking for.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure there at the end too, right? Like you have to land this because you know it's gonna replay it over and over, especially because it's the first of something. It's gonna get replayed in the AEW history for years to come. So it has to look as perfect as possible, I would imagine, right?
100%, 100%. It was like I said, the weight of the world was on my shoulders, and I still had to perform and give the last one after Samoa Joe put me through like the beating of my life for the last
Hmm.
15 minutes before that.
Right. And hey, what do you expect from Samoa Joe? He's gonna give you his best, no matter what. I
He was
just
giving me his best like the weeks leading up, man, putting me
hmm
through tables, punching me in the face with chains wrapped around, like blooding me, microphone like jabs back and forth,
hmm
like just facing off back to back, like weeks of like just weeks of just brutality and just like bare knuckle fighting with this man. And but the thing that made me champion was I always got back up. I
hmm
always got back up, and I still came at him like head of steam, no
hmm
fear.
Another element to this main event match that you guys had that I found to be significant, maybe because I'm a person of color as well, was you had that Black Panther outfit on. What was the significance or maybe the motivation behind that attire choice for this moment?
I was inspired by the fact that the show was called Dynasty. The pay per view was
Hmm.
called Dynasty. It felt like a royalty. Um it felt like a ceremonial moment for me being in the main event for that, and I wanted to like kind of depict that in a way, in my own way.
Hmm.
It felt like we're. I wanted to have my pre-match ceremony, kind of like in the film Black Panther. There was
Right.
like a ceremony getting ready for battle to be crowned the new king, and so I kind of wanted to like depict that, but it wasn't a Black Panther. I was a Killmonger
Hmm.
outfit actually,
Ah,
and
yes, okay.
so that's why I kind of
Hmm.
wanted to flip it in the sense of like I did a lot of bad things to be crowned king. I'm still like a killer underneath that costume,
Hmm.
and I'm not coming to be rewarded. the throne. I'm here to take it. I'm here to fight because that's all I've done to get to this point. I'm going to still stay true to that, and I'm going to come in and take it. And then Nana bringing in the embassy, the crown jewel robe,
Yes.
laying it across was
Hmm.
like a ode to James Brown type feel
Okay.
to like
Right.
rise
Right.
up, you know. So
Right.
like mixing a little bit of things that were like inspirational to me, the pyro, the falling
Hmm.
sparks, just I never had like sparkles. How that was always probably my favorite. For me, that was always probably my favorite. Like personally, growing up, my favorite
Hmm.
type of pyro, like the falling, like
Right. Right.
Kevin Nash type deal. So I was
Hmm.
like, you know what, I want that. This is my moment. I'm gonna ask for it. So I got it, and so just all those things culminated.
Awesome. And again, I love that it's just those little details sometimes that help make the story that much better or allow you to kind of dig a little bit deeper and find that significance in a number of different things. You mentioned Prince Nana and what he's obviously seems to be a significant part of your entrance and just what your package is. Tell me a little bit about working with him and just maybe the kind of character that he is.
He is he is someone that sets a tone.
Hmm.
He's someone that the fans gravitate to, and that was we picked up on that as the music and was playing the Big
Yeah.
Pressure song, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna hold you back from this. Do it, like we like keep going, dance harder, like do your thing.
Hmm.
It's someone that's I've looked up to for a very long time. I've studied Ring of Honor tapes for years, like over like 20 years. And the fact that like he was managing me, now he's moving on to managing me is like, man, this feels like a true honor, you
Hmm.
know? So he had like a complete resurgence in the wrestling world, and we're a great team. We're a great tandem. A lot of times you see us out there is we don't
Hmm.
plan nothing. We kind of like lock eyes and make jokes and things like that.
Hmm.
And we play off of each other so well. I couldn't I can honestly say I don't know if I would have made it to this point without him.
Hmm.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm happy that I did. I'm very proud of his performance. I'm very proud of him as not only just a business partner and I'm proud of him as a friend.
Hmm. And when he's doing his dance and he's doing the things, and getting the crowd going in, and the crowd is pretty much on 100 when you're coming out there. And for you, you kind of are keeping this straight face and this very serious demeanor. Has there maybe ever been that moment where Nana's trying to get you to pop or something
Oh,
as
all
you're
the
making your
time.
way down to the ring?
He does it in my matches too.
Yeah. Okay. Has he ever gotten you pretty good or
Close. He's got me
okay?
close. He's almost bumped into me in my entrances too. Like, because he'd be
Yeah.
going so hard. I'm like, all right.
Hmm.
So I'll take like a half step slower so he can get ahead of me.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, very smart, very smart. Um, and again, just circling back to you and your career, what were some of your biggest influences? Obviously, everyone has their starting point in wrestling and maybe something that inspired them, whether it's a match or a person, but what was it that inspired you to get started with your career?
Man, I would say I was always a big Rey Mysterio fan, and I was a big Adam Copeland fan.
Hmm.
So those two are like probably my two biggest inspirations, like ever. They just felt like large. They felt larger than life to me. And Ray always felt like a comic book character popping out of the comic, being a real person. Oh man, I can actually go meet this person. I could
Yeah.
possibly like like if I'm good enough to train and
Hmm.
go up in the wrestling world, I could wrestle this person. I could face my Spider-Man in a sense. And that always inspired me. Not just and then like his movements was always insane to me, and his colorful outfits, his entrance, it was just all magic to me. And then as I've gotten when I started training and becoming a pro wrestler and stuff, I started studying. I was kind of like gravitated towards like Adam Copeland a lot more.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, okay, I feel like my height, my size, if I was to look like a wrestler, it would look like Adam Copeland. And so it really just I feel like those two are my two biggest inspirations, and what inspired me to get into it was like honestly video gaming and wrestling, and then combining the two. I was like me and
Hmm.
my friends at the lunch table.
Yeah.
That was our group, and then like also like if you didn't watch wrestling the night before and you showed up to the lunch table and you did not have anything to talk about,
Right. Yes.
you were clowned, or you just felt like you missed out on all the
Right.
fun. So
What were
like
you
you had
doing?
to yeah, like what were you doing? It was like that. It was like wrestling, Chappelle Show, and Boondocks. If you missed
Hmm.
the last night's new episode and you showed up to school the next day,
Right.
you missed it. Everybody's cracking jokes, laughing, and you're just
Hmm.
outside looking in your faux mode. So
Right.
that's kind of where the inspiration of like the love for it and the passion. It was just like a lot of my friends, and it's like it was just what we did. And then, the video gaming of it is just all those little cool fun elements as a kid is what inspired me to like actually like, you know what? I think I want to do this.
Gotcha. So one question I had for you were there any dream matches or opponents still out there for you? Obviously, you named Rey Mysterio. Adam Copeland is one. I've had a chance to talk to Adam before. Really good dude. What is that interaction like? Being able to have someone like Adam in the locker room and maybe even bounce ideas off of and whatnot.
I bounce ideas off them all the time. Even when we're going through the airports, I'll sit and I'll
Hmm.
like show them a promo and I'll like, how did you feel about this? Like what was the tone? Where should I have gone? Where are my voice inflections, my faces, my eyes? Or some things that you used to do that you kind of shifted. Like it gets me and Cope get really, really deep
Hmm.
with camera work because when he transitioned to acting and
Right.
he got new tricks off of that. His
Hmm.
promoing as he went from like being pre-retired to post-retired, like what was the nuance and the change when like now he's older, he's the veteran now. He's not the new up and coming trying to make a mark in the business. He's made his mark. Now
Hmm.
he's like channeling something new and different. And then we're also big like television guys, like we're Breaking Bad fans. So we throw ideas back and forth, or like I'll send them YouTube videos of character breakdowns of our favorite characters
Hmm.
and what colors on their outfits meant, what this meant, what these meant, this like camera shot with the cloud in the back and things like
Hmm.
that. We're very, very, very meticulous on detail, and I use those same things on what I do, not just in matches, but like me running in and beating up the Mogul Embassy and what
Right.
this meant and who's that, why this, where this, what this, and not necessarily telling the audience what it is, but letting
Hmm.
them figure it out and go back and watch to find new things that they missed the first time and go back and
Hmm.
watch this promo because I winked at that time and says little things like this. Or why did he say
Hmm.
it this way? Why is he who's like those that's the fun part of television for me. And I learned a lot of that from studying with Adam.
Gotcha. And obviously, you spent some time in WWE prior as well, if I'm not mistaken. Did you ever get a chance to work with Rey Mysterio?
I wrestled Rey Mysterio actually on an independent when he was like away
Oh,
from
okay.
WWE. We did a
Hmm.
6-man tag in Tennessee. Phoenix was
Gotcha.
involved in it. Black Toros was involved. Willie Mack was in it, and I believe Sammy Guevara at the time was there too. We were all in
Okay.
a 6-man tag, and I remember me and Ray we missed the opportunity working with each other in Lucha Underground. So
Mm-hmm.
he was like really excited to face off with me because at that match. So we had a lot of interactions in the ring together because we didn't get to do it in Lucha Underground at the time. So he was like, I'm really excited. I was like, you're excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it was really cool.
and the one thing about both those guys that you mentioned is, I mean, I remember them back in the Attitude Era, and maybe even Ray wasn't so much that. Well, I guess he was on Nitro, but just those guys and the longevity they've had with their career. Is there anything
Yeah.
that you can take away from those two guys and the fact that they've been able to, obviously Rey Mysterio was doing a lot more high flying and whatnot back then, and he's still doing some of it today, which is just as impressive. But just to see how they've been able, and like you kind of detailed with Edge, the way they can kind of change on a dime, change their character up a little bit, just do the little things to stay relevant and to kind of stay on the top of your game. Is there anything you can take away from some of that kind of aspect to it?
Man, I don't get to interact with Ray as much as I used to.
Right.
We do follow each other on social media, but with Copeland, he's like literally to me just a walking like wealth of knowledge. He's like
Yeah.
all of it's right there. So I literally there's never a week of television if we're on the same show where I'm not talking to him. I take so much from him just like for being able to like revamp and come back doing things differently. And like I said, like it's television. He finds what like he said when he was coming to All Elite Wrestling, he was going to be like, I want to do a grindhouse type feel for my character now a little bit. I was like,
Hmm.
awesome. I see that now, and I'm
Yeah.
grindhouse man. Like I get it. I get it. Just that little thing is like I get it. And so now it's like my thing is like, okay, I need that one little thing that kind of like people see it, but they don't see it.
Hmm.
They it's still relative to me, but they still see the inspiration behind it and they get it. And I felt like with Ray was the same way. Like that's what kept him like going for so long, not just like the health and the in-ring
Hmm.
style. It's just like you see him, you get it. When you have that, you're gonna be around forever.
No doubt about it. I'll get you out of here with a few more questions here. Um, just now that you're in the position that you are, and I mean even prior to that, you have a pretty good idea of what's going on in the wrestling landscape, and obviously with AEW. Who are some of the rising stars that you see coming up as that next crop of talent that you think can kind of be in maybe in the position you're in at some point down the road?
I feel like at some point you're gonna have like a Kyle Fletcher in there,
Hmm.
who's the size, the speed, the impact in his movements. He's under Don Callis, so right there, it's
Hmm.
just like all the tutelage you need to like just shoot straight to the top. He's already shown that he can be a performer. Um, Daniel Garcia just works hard,
Yes.
always
Hmm.
in the mix, always can go with anybody. Shown that for a while now. Nick Wayne,
Hmm.
um, to be where he's at right now at the age of 18. First debut was against myself in the All Elite Wrestling, and he was 18, the youngest debut ever. Like
Wow.
insane.
Yeah.
Billy Starks, what she's doing in Ring of Honor, she's going to
Hmm.
be remarkable. Um, it's I can say like this person because they're still like really killing it right now at this moment, but Tony Storm is still only 28 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
That's scary,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. Um, Osprey, of course, he just turned 30, 31 years
Hmm.
old. Jay White still is like can headline a pay-per-view any day,
Hmm.
any moment, any day. Um, there's man, we have just a long list of just like even a commander. I think he's like 24
Hmm.
years old. I'm looking for him to be one of the next Rey Mysterios of this generation. Dude's innovative. The Dante Martin, Darius. Uh, like I feel like our youth is probably the greatest in wrestling right now. We have so many under 30, under 25-year olds
Hmm.
that we could build a whole nother roster for and still put on phenomenal shows, weekly television. Is
Hmm.
like a wealth of them, So I'm like I said, that's why I feel like it's important for me to set a standard for like them to like look up to and be like, you know what, I'm not going to be this way because Swerve was not this way. I'm going to work hard and like follow like the guidelines and follow like the right ways to do things and do it my way and create and work hard because that's what Swerve did. I didn't take the shortcuts. I wasn't handed anything. I
Hmm.
worked hard for an opportunity and I took that opportunity and spun it and did something with it. Now I want to see these same guys, these same kids, guys and girls do the same thing, you know.
And just speaking on some of what you said there, final question. What do you want your legacy to be? Obviously, you're nowhere near the end of your career, but just, kind of where you're at right now. What do you want the legacy to kind of look like for Swerve Strickland?
That's tough because I don't even know. I'm still making it. At the end of
Okay.
by the end, I wanted to kind of be like, man, like this is a very I feel like I'm a very unique talent in itself. Like
Hmm.
I kind of went very unconventional in my career this whole time. So what I want to do is just be like as long as you believe in something, believe in who you are, first off, learn who you are, then believe in
Mhm.
who you are. And then always just keep pushing forward through the tough things, tough times, and don't be afraid of going the long road. Don't be afraid of like being told like no isn't a reason to stop in this grind, this journey. May have to take a different direction, but you don't stop. You can go faster, go slower, but you don't stop.
Gotcha. And if you want to see Swerve and a lot of the other members of the AEW roster that he mentioned, you guys can check them out locally. Swerve will be a part of AEW Dynamite when it returns to the Kia Forum on Wednesday, May 29th. And also, they'll be arriving in Palm Springs for a show on Thursday, May 30th for AEW Collision. Both of those shows, the tickets will be available at Ticketmaster.com. Swerve, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.